What's up, guys? So today I'm going to be looking at the Mishimoto Race intake that I purchased, and I'm going to be doing kind of an overhaul on the whole intake itself. So let's go ahead, take a look at the parts, and we'll see what this intake looks like. So here's the Mishimoto Race intake that I purchased. I got this used online for a super good price. I really couldn't turn it down, obviously. And it came with everything that I needed, except it didn't have the top cover for the intake box, which really wasn't a big deal to me because I'm going to take this plexiglass and I'm going to make a top. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to look when I'm done, but I'm going to show you what I think and my process of making that. And it came, you know, with the extension harness, the clamps, the coupler, the filter, and obviously the pipe. So let's take a look at the pipe. Take a look at the build quality. This is a 3-inch pipe. So if you're going to get this intake, you're definitely going to need a tune for it. And it's got an air straightener here. And this has been CNC machined. I'll get in there really close. You can see the machine marks in there. And it has been pressed into this pipe. And my flange, it's pretty beefy. I don't know if this is off the shelf or if they manufacture this, but the welds look all right around it. It comes with some button head, Allen wrench hardware that you'll use, and it has a little mounting point so it doesn't shake around. And this intake, I've tried to clean it up a little bit, but it's still got some corrosion on it. It's kind of hard to tell on the camera. You can kind of see it there, but it kind of bugs me. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to sandblast it, probably powder coat it, and I'm going to show you that process. And then I'm going to show you my making the top for the box process. And then we'll throw this in the car and we'll see how it looks and how it sounds. So day one, what I'm going to do today, I'm going to take this in and I'm going to go sandblast it real quick because the corrosion and inconsistent finish on here is kind of bothering me. So I'm going to sandblast it and then I'm going to have it powder coated so that it looks a lot cleaner. So I'll show you the results when I'm done powder coating it and what that looks like. So here's the results after the sandblasting. You can see now that everything's pretty consistent. It's been roughed up so that the powder coat should stick to it pretty good. And hopefully it looks a lot better. Alright guys, so it's been like weeks of waiting. I was going to do white on my intake, but it wasn't working out. It was taking kind of a long time, and I kind of wanted to get this done. So I went with the old traditional black wrinkle on here, and it turned out pretty good. Masked off the mat flange, got inside the air straightener. Now it's all consistent, and you pretty much wouldn't even know that it was used now. So I'm pretty happy about how it turned out. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my car, pull it in, and I'm going to do the air box. I'm going to test fit this and cut out the plexiglass. And how I'm going to do it, I'm going to mount it in position so that I get all the holes and the lines all marked out perfectly. I'm going to set this on top here, trace it out, mark all the holes, and then I'm going to cut it. And hopefully that turns out all right and it looks pretty decent. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and pull the car in. First thing I'm going to do is take out my air duct here. You just do a turn with a flat blade screwdriver. Pop it out. So now that our air duct is out of the way, we can take out the 10mm bolts that are right here. I know that the air box that I'm putting in uses one of these mounting locations, so I'm going to just take this whole bracket off and I'm going to put it back on how I need it. So let's go ahead and take this out and take these bolts off. And the last bolt you're going to need to take out is the shoulder bolt right here. That is a 10mm, and you're going to need some extensions to get that part out. And then when you get that out, you're going to flip back these tabs right here and take the filter out, take this front portion out, and then we can work on unclipping our MAF sensor. That's what the shoulder bolt looks like right there. Unclip our box. Filter pulled out. Now we have access to our MAF Phillips head screws that we're going to take out now. So at your MAF sensor here, you can go ahead and unclip this, and then take your Phillips head and unscrew these Phillips right here. Okay, so I got the MAF sensor out, it's unclipped, and now I can get access to this worm clamp that's down underneath, and they conveniently put it upside down so that you can't get it from the top. And you can either use a flathead or an 8mm socket, and I'm just going to loosen this up, and I'm going to pull this air box off, and I'm going to put the Mishimoto in and mount it up, and then I'm going to trace out my plexiglass. I got this air box in here, and you can see that right here, right there is where they utilize that bolt from the original mounting bracket. And then down there, that's where you pulled out your shoulder bolt. And then it looks like right here I was supposed to get a bolt from, I don't know, maybe it's part of the Mishimoto kit, but again, since this is used, I didn't get everything. So luckily I found this bolt, and this is going to work out for this spot right here. Just going to thread it in there. Again, I just want everything all mounted up so that when I put this plexiglass on here, it's going to be as accurate as possible. Okay, so I'm going to put the rest of the bolts in, and then I'm going to start tracing. So there's bolt number 1. Down there, way down there is bolt number 2. And then there's bolt number 3. Now I'm all mounted up, and I should be good to put on my plexiglass. So I got my plexiglass. I'm going to set it right on top. I took out the hood stop right here so that I could lay it flat. So here I go, I got it laid flat. I got a ruler so that I make sure I get straight lines on all of this. And I'm going to pull it back as far as I can and get all the edges good. So now I'm going to look through the top of this, and I'm going to use my ruler to trace along the edge of the airbox. Okay, now that I got my edges marked, now I can go ahead and put a spot where the bolts are going to be put. Here's like a little overhead shot of what I've just traced out. I got a hole here, a hole there, and then a hole right here. It's kind of hard to see because it's on the black, but then I'm going to get a bandsaw, cut this out, and then I'm going to sand it all flat so that it looks nice, and then I'm just going to use a regular drill to drill out these, and then I should be good to go to mount it back on top of the airbox here, and then I can get underneath the car and put the rest of the intake in, and it should look pretty sweet. Okay, since I'm too impatient to wait for the bandsaw, I'm going to use this jigsaw, and I'm going to see how that turns out. If it turns out like crap, I'll just try again. But here we go. Not too bad. Kind of janky, but it's whatever. Here we go. There we have it. It's cut out. Piece of wood. I'm going to drill this part out. Okay, so here it is. It's all cut out. It turned out pretty good actually. I don't really like jigsaws because they're not very accurate, but everything looks all right. So now I can kind of get this test fitted on here. And I got these bolts here from working with Austin. These are just like some eBay bolts that have like a little piece of metal that's countersunk. And that should look a little bit more stylish than using like some button heads on top of there that I think typically is used. So I'm going to go ahead and test fit this and see how it looks. Everything's all mounted up. You can see all these bolts fit perfectly. It's not perfect around all the edges, but it's pretty close, so I'm happy with it. So I'm comfortable peeling off this protective cover now, and let's get the rest of the intake put in. Okay, so I got the box back out. Now I'm going to take out these 10mm bolts, and then the easy way I think is to go underneath the car, which I've jacked up now. So here underneath the car, I'm going to take out this worm clamp, and then I'm just going to slide the whole thing out through the top. Okay, you can see I got that off for the inlet there. Now I'm going to go up, and I got that bolt off, and now I'm just going to pull this whole assembly right out. So right now I'm going to take the extension harness and plug it in, and now we can slip this into the car. So I got my intake kind of in place. I'm going to slip on my clamps. Okay, so now that I got my coupler on, I got this tightened, and I left this one kind of loose so that from the top I can adjust this so I can kind of turn it. That way when I'm working from the top, I can swivel this and adjust it so that I can get this nut tightened so that all this bracketry is all straight and has a good connection. Okay, I swiveled everything, got everything tight. The coupler down there will kind of lock everything in, and then you'll tighten that one down. And then now I'm going to take my extension, plug it in, then I'll put my filter on, and then I'll put the box in that I just made. Okay guys, so here's the finished product. You can see down inside there is the filter. It's kind of hard to see with the glare, but there it is. There's the little cap screw things, I don't know what you call them. And the inlet that supplies all the cold air going right in there. Everything fits pretty good. Yeah, I like it. It turned out pretty nice. Okay guys, it's the next day. It's kind of better lighting. I didn't really like how it looked in that lighting, so I'm going to go over it right now. Do some different views so you can see how it looks. It really looks like there's nothing on there at some angles in the camera. But it definitely gives the car a more personalized look and a little more custom looking airbox. I like how it turned out, and if you have an airbox already and this is something that you want to do to kind of change it up, I mean, it was relatively cheap. It cost me maybe 10 bucks to do that top. And anyways, I'm going to be putting my J-pipe on in the next day or two, and then I'll be doing some e-tuning on it and get everything all running smooth and good. So if you like this video, you want to see what's coming up next with the J-pipe, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.